Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar organized by the Global Infrastructure Basel Foundation and ICL. We are going to spend the next 45 minutes together. My name is Nathalie Gaulier and I'm working for GIB, Global Infrastructure Basel Foundation. This is a non-profit organization and it's structured into three pillars. One is infrastructure and the next generation. The second one, infrastructure and nature. And the third pillar is called infrastructure quality and finance. And in this pillar, we are running the Fast Infra label, which is member of ICL. So this is where the connection comes from. So today we are introducing a tool. It's a artificial intelligence-enabled tool for sustainability framework benchmarking. The development of that minimum viable product was made possible thanks to ICL and the ICL Innovation Fund. And the webinar will be structured the following way. First, I leave the floor to Emma and Elise to present the organization, ICL, and the ICL Innovation Fund. Then I'm going to present the tool in itself and have a demo. And then we will have some time for questions and answers, expression of interest, and then some final closing remark. So with no further ado, I leave the floor to ICL, to Emma or Alice, I don't know who is starting, to present their organization and the ICL Innovation Fund.
Thank you very much, Nathalie. Pleased to be with you all today. I will give a brief introduction on the Innovations Fund. I think some slides are coming up now. Yeah, lovely, thank you. So my name is Emma Jacobs, a Senior Coordinator at ICL, working with the Innovations Fund team. I'm joined by my colleague Elise, who's a Senior Coordinator for Data Insight at ICL. So the Innovations Fund is a grant facility established in 2016 by ICL, and ICL itself supports ambitious sustainability systems and their partners to tackle the world's most pressing challenges. Innovations Fund supports collaborative projects involving organizations in the ICL community, though we have expanded our eligibility so projects can be led by external organizations. And our fund was founded on the principle that innovation through the development and testing of new ideas, tools and approaches is key for sustainability systems to remain effective and relevant in the fast evolving context they operate in, with emerging regulatory requirements and technologies. And collaboration is one of our guiding principles listed here. And we were glad to see this embodied in the project being presented today to develop the sustainability framework benchmarking tool, as Global Infrastructure Basel partnered with other ICL members with a common interest in advancing sustainable due diligence processes, so Sustainable Goal Foundation, ASI Assurance, and Global Sustainable Tourism Council. And to thank our donors for the ICL Fund. So our grant program is made possible thanks to generous support from our co-founders, the Swiss Secretariat for Economic Affairs, SECO, as well as UK International Development from the UK government. And to say that on the ICL website, if you find the Innovations Fund page, you can explore the 100+ projects in our portfolio, including their outputs and learning. The outputs from this project will be featured there once it concludes. And we also regularly publish learning briefs and case studies, and you can read about past funding opportunities and stay up to date on emerging opportunities. Next slide, please. And 5 cross-cutting focus areas guide our grant-making efforts, which relate to how sustainability systems can improve their effectiveness in driving sector transformation, meet stakeholder needs, and address sustainability challenges. Next slide, please. So this project being presented today was supported as part of our July 2023 call for expressions of interest, where we sought out project ideas on the theme of systems as systems as tools to support implementation of effective, fair, and impactful due diligence processes. This was an opportunity for organizations to pilot innovations and improvements that help systems meet the rapidly growing demand for more engagement, tools, and action to support and respond to corporate due diligence legislation in various jurisdictions. If you just click the slide, please. And the 4 objectives under this round will appear. So project ideas had to advance at least one of 4 specific objectives. And the project being presented connects to the 4th objective, which is to improve the quality of data and align data sharing to support implementation of due diligence regulations. As a core component of this project was to enhance the quality of data used in due diligence processes. Next slide, please. We're not able to share any details of current or upcoming funding opportunities, as our current focus is on managing our portfolio of over 50 grants and synthesizing results and learning. But for any ICIL member staff in attendance today, we just wanted to highlight an upcoming event we're hosting in London on the 5th of March on scaling innovations. Attendance is exclusive to ICIL members, though parts of the session will include external guests, and it's an opportunity to hear from projects that have successfully scaled beyond their initial grant, and there'll be roundtable discussions to allow in-depth analysis of success factors of projects that have scaled. And the event is fast approaching, but anyone still interested can express interest through a form which you will have received if you are an ICIL member. That's it from me. I'll hand over to Elise for some further framing on how this project kind of aligns with ICIL's work.
Thanks, Emma, and thank you to the whole GIB team for inviting us. My name is Elise Boileau, as Emma introduced us. I work at ICIL on data and insights programs that we run and support our members. And I just wanted to share a quick introduction from the perspective of our data program at ICIL. And we're extremely proud to support our community member, Global Infrastructure Basel, as they introduce this new tool for sustainability framework benchmarking. And this work really arrives at a moment where we see sustainability systems are being asked to demonstrate more clarity and more transparency and stronger alignment really with evolving corporate due diligence requirements. So really linked to the topic of this fund grant round. And what we're seeing at ICIL is that standards need tools that help them understand alignment without overwhelming internal capacity. And more broadly, this fits within a wider trend we're seeing, where sustainability systems are investing in becoming more data-led organizations so they can make better informed decisions and deliver on their missions. At ICIL, our data program, which I work on, is built around exactly this goal, making them more data-led organizations. And we work to help members improve their internal data management, build the foundations for interoperability and better data sharing, and develop the capabilities really that they need to use their data not just for reporting, but for learning, for innovations, and for better decision making. So within this, we're also working with our members to see how they can use AI technologies in their work. We hosted a conversation in our data community of practice last year to explore how different ICIL members were using AI technologies in their work. And we also really stress that the Innovations Fund is the perfect environment for this sort of experimentation and piloting of new technologies. So all that to say, this AI-enabled tool from GIB really complements that whole journey by having that goal of reducing barriers to data use and making analysis more accessible through the use of artificial intelligence technologies. So we're really hoping that this tool will help standard setters to see where they are already strong in alignment and where adjustments may be needed to meet the emerging expectations that I mentioned at the start. We're also very excited to see its potential, not just to support alignment, but also for organizational learning. Like Emma said, learning and collaboration are really key components of the whole ICIL community and of the Innovations Fund. So it's been really great to see this collaborative spirit in the development of this project. And it really reflects the kind of innovations that become possible when organizations share challenges openly and work together on solutions that can benefit the wider community. Those were the main things I wanted to mention. We are very much looking forward to this tool being finalized. I'm very much looking forward to the demonstration today, and to hearing the feedback from this group. I would really encourage you to share your feedback very extensively with the team. And I'm excited to see how this tool will evolve and support standard setters in navigating regulatory complexity. Thank you for having me, and congratulations again to the IB team for bringing this tool to our community and to a wider audience. Back to you, Natalie. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elise. Thank you, Emma, for presenting extensively the ICL Innovation Fund and for all your support also throughout the way. It has not been an easy journey, lots of rebouncing. And so, yeah, thank you very much. Julio, maybe you can share the slide deck, and I already explained the first part, so the agenda of today, so we can go next slide. The ICL Innovation Fund has just been presented, and then slide 4, we have the agenda of the presentation right now. So I'll share a bit of context and mainly the challenges that we wanted to address with this AI tool, this to benchmark sustainability framework. Then I'll give a little bit of an overview on the structure of the tool and the different steps. I'll demo the tool, and finally we can have a discussion around the scope, the limitations, and the ideas about expansions. And I'm already giving some bullet points here that we can build on. So next slide, please. The challenges that we wanted to address with this tool are mainly 4, and it starts with the complexity and the evolution of financial disclosure regulations for sustainable investment. And that, of course, has an impact, and this is challenge 2, the impact of the regulation on the financial due diligence of sustainable activities, and by the way, also the impact on standards in general. And the third challenge is, in general, the shared feeling of a lack of data required by the due diligence of investors to meet the regulation. And this is all leading to a bigger challenge, which is that because of this complexity, capital might be directed to other purposes which are not sustainable activities. So that would be a complete shoot in the wrong direction. So next slide, please. The sustainability standards have the potential to facilitate the due diligence data collection for financier. And here I would like to show you why with this slide, and give a little bit an explanation on the flow of the data. So first, on the left-hand side, I'd like to start with the disclosure regulations. So here we have 2 examples: the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, CSDDD, or Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation as examples. There are many others. So they are requesting financial institutions to provide data showing compliance with the regulation. In turn, the data is requested through the due diligence process from the financial institutions, here in yellow, from the sustainable businesses that they are investing in. So they have to provide the data. And the standards here on the right-hand side, standards and labels, can help sustainable businesses to collect and transfer the data to the financial institutions, of course, if the requirements of the standards are aligned with the disclosure, with the regulations. So our proposition here, and you can click one more, to highlight the tool in the middle, is to provide a tool that enables to check how much the voluntary sustainable standards are aligned with disclosure regulation. And here there are two steps. First is evaluating the sustainability frameworks against the disclosure regulations, and then providing a summary report and summarizing the alignment, and possibly giving some hints on how to improve this. So next slide, please. The sustainability framework benchmarking tool is an AI-driven application, so using artificial intelligence. It's designed to support the benchmarking analysis of the sustainability standards and labels against certain regulatory disclosure requirements. And we are leveraging AI here to process the large volumes of text, assess framework alignment, and generate summary reports. Next slide, please. Here, so a little bit to explain the journey and also to give credit to the project manager, Vivian He. She's not presenting today, but she was the main engineer and the main master behind all this work. She managed the project and developed this idea to use AI. Because at the very beginning, the proposal was to develop an Excel tool to evaluate the sustainability schemes against the regulatory requirements. But as we said just before, due to the complexity of the regulatory texts and also the volume of the voluntary sustainability standard documents, Vivian had the idea of exploring generative AI. So she tested it on the benchmarking analysis of the FastInfo label, which is our in-house standard framework, and she optimized that through the development of a Python-based retrieval augmented generation, so RAG in short, module. She with high customization and also extending the knowledge base. And all this in order to improve the AI-generated responses, because the first go at it was not that accurate. And with working on all these steps, she managed to get actually very good results. So that initiated the next step of developing an MVP, a minimum viable product, together with Nofal, who is here also on the call, and who developed and helped develop the tool and develop the backend and the user interface. Because the idea was to expand the tool's usability and functionality for non-technical users, so to make it available, for example, to the ICL community. So I'm very happy to have Nofal on the call, and he will be there to support in case there are any technical questions on the back-end AI modules and on the web-based user interface. So here from this slide, you actually see the workflow of the web application. So first, the user uploads the indicators of the desired scheme and additional context information of the scheme. Then the application, and this is the part in blue, use the large language models to process these large documents and extract the sustainability indicators from the scheme documents. Then during the third step here, the web application applies the RAG, the retrieval augmented generation, to extract relevant and matching text from the regulation that is available in the backend that is already uploaded there, also and which is also called the knowledge base. After this, the application analyzes the regulatory requirements against the sustainability indicators of the scheme, thanks to prompt chains guiding the large language models. The results are then classified by alignment categories. So we have different ones like not applicable or partially aligned or fully aligned. And there is a justification and even a next step or recommendation. And finally, the user gets a report in form of an Excel file and a descriptive word summary. So going to the next slide, this is the website where the tool is, and here you have again like how it looks like online sustainability framework benchmarking with the 6 steps that I just described in the previous slide. So first, uploading the primary information, the indicators, the documents of the framework, and then the legal framework like selection, because this is in the knowledge base, this is already in the backend, then the AI analysis and the provision of the summary report. So now I'll demo the tool. So we have a little video to show how to So first you sign in, exactly password. You put in the name of the framework. So in our case here, for example, we take ours, the Fast Info label, with the version, the publication date, the year, and the standard setting organization, in this case, GIB. Then we upload the indicators. In this case, it's already an Excel file, and we are adding the supporting documents. For example, it can be a glossary, it can be a methodology, anything that can help the large language model and the RAG to understand better. And then you select the regulation that you want to map your framework against. And then the AI analysis is started, and then we can jump directly to the first mark where the analysis is complete. Here you get already the upload of the indicator analysis file. And then you can generate the report, the Excel report, based on this, which is shown here, but I'll go in a minute a little bit more into the details. At the beginning, you have the statement, you have the quotes in the regulation, in the standard, and where these are to be found in the original texts. And finally, you get the word summary report, which is giving you the alignment levels and how many indicators are how aligned, the definition of these alignments, and the next steps. So that was very quick. So if we go to the next slide, we will look a little bit more into details. This is the output of the Excel. So at the beginning, you see the statement, which is basically the indicator. And then second, you see the evidence. So these are the quotes from the regulation showing where the same semantics can be found within the regulation. And here on the citation, you see exactly where this is sitting in the original document. Same for the voluntary sustainability standard. And then you get the alignment category, in this case, fully aligned, and the justification why this is the case and why this is the alignment category that has been chosen. On the next slide, we see the more detailed Word document showing on the overview the number of indicators that are fully aligned with the regulation, or the ones that are not aligned. And here on the right side, the alignment categories and what it implies for the framework. For example, in the case that it's fully aligned, no action needed, but if it's mostly aligned, then considered adequately covered, minor improvements may be considered to align better the framework to the regulation. So on the next slide, there are the alignment categories. So it goes from not applicable. So that means like the reference document does not address the topic of this indicator, or this indicator is out of scope of the reference document. So no action is actually required here. In the case it's partially aligned, that means the indicator in the assess framework reflects some similar intent to the reference document, but lacks essential components. So key elements required to fulfill the reference's intent, which means the regulation, are missing or insufficiently addressed. In that case, the implication is for the framework, for the scheme, review the assess framework and incorporate missing or under development aspects, for example. And I mentioned already fully aligned. So you have 5 categories. So that's it for the demo and understanding the outputs. Now I'd like to share a little bit more about the scope and the limitation of the tool. Thank you, Julio. This is the scope and limitation. So scope, it's a very high-level mapping of sustainability topics between regulation and compliance indicators. And so it's based on semantics and very high level. So it can be used as a preliminary step to identify quicker the commonalities and where they are located in these different documents between the scheme and the regulation. The limitation is that you still need manual check and refining if you want to do in-depth analysis of how much this standard can actually be used to show compliance with regulation. It can definitely not be used for claims because it's not a 100% accuracy. And the fact that we are using AI, there is a very fast evolution of the AI tools. So you need constantly to update with the newest tool, and then you also need to adapt the prompts accordingly. So yeah, there is a lot of work if you want to maintain. And of course, with the updates, you are also improving the results. Next slide, please. Here, just some ideas to launch the discussion on how this tool can be used and developed further. So we could go deeper on the regulation and on the scheme logics. For example, here we are really at the semantic level, but actually a scheme has a logic, a regulation has a different logic maybe. So how do we reflect, for example, the different level of performance that a scheme can give, or when it has thresholds? We could imagine having other frameworks, other regulations in the back end in the knowledge base, for example, the SDGs or the Global Reporting Initiative or other regulation. Another use case could be also checking if in the supply chain, which is also a requirement in the regulation, in the contractual documents with the contractors, for example, if the requirements on the supply chain are reflected. So actually, instead of mapping the standard against the regulation, it's actually mapping the contractual documents to see if these are matching the regulation. And another use could be reporting, which of course would need a lot of more work to be able to use it for reporting, but that could also be something that we can look into. So thank you very much. That was it. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was interesting and you could follow the explanation and how that works. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I'm sure you have some comments and questions. So happy to hear or read them, and Nofal and me. And also, if you have questions on ICL and the Innovation Fund, please feel free to ask your question. The first one is rather technical, Nofal. It's maybe one for you. Please let me know if this is a LLM assistant or agent.
Okay, sorry, I was mute. Which AI? Yeah, so which AI LLM was used? So we're using ChatGPT that at the time we built, as Natalie mentioned as well, the AI, is moving way faster. At that time, we had a context window like 200,000 tokens. Now it's like I think 400 to 450,000 tokens, and yeah. To answer your question, we are using ChatGPT. I think 4 or 4.5. Now we have 5.2 as well. And as soon as we upgraded to 5.2, the results would be better. The alignments, the reports, everything would be like at least 20 to 30% better. So yeah, right now we are using, and also it's modular. It's not something we are stick with ChatGPT. With a little bit of configuration, we can move to other LLMs as well. Technically, it has built in such a way to work with all the large language models, because each week and each month at least new larger models are coming in. So with a little change, we can definitely switch to any other platform or any other model as well. But of course, testing would be required, because we are dealing with a huge number of documents. I hope that answers the question.
There is another question of if this is available to anyone for free to test. Yes, so you can take up contact with me, and then I can share the link, and you can test it, and we are looking forward to your feedback. So I think you answered which AI LLM was used, right?
Yep, I think I missed the first one. So that one says, please let me know if this is an LLM assistant or agent. Um, it's an assistant. Agent is something that, that basically take actions on your behalf. This is an assistant. You provide some information, you process it and generate some output for you. So that's how it works.
So Tobias asked, which combinations of standards and regulations have you tested so far and what were the results? So far in the knowledge base, we have 4 regulations. One is the EU Deforestation Regulation. We have the SFDR, Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation, CSDDD, Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, and CSRD, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. So then it's a matter of if we can also expand this knowledge base as I was mentioning earlier. But so far, these are the 4 regulations that are there, and then you can map your standard, any standard, against these 4 regulations that are in the back end. So now we tested, and by the way, we had some partners, and Elise was mentioning the collaborative work. So we really enjoyed working with some of the partners of the ICL community that tested also the standard against these 4 regulations. Namely GEO, GSTC, and ASI. So yeah, your standard could be tested as well, Tobias. Can any voluntary scheme be added to the tool to benchmark against the regulations you added already? Exactly. So I think I just answered the question. You can test, basically, you can map any voluntary scheme against the 4 regulations that are currently in the knowledge base. So that's a very good question. Like if GIB will be maintaining this tool now that the funding has come to an end. So yes, we want to update, and then we have still identified some errors, so that we want to correct. So we are still cooperating with Nofal and have a maintenance contract. But of course, like bigger development, as I was mentioning in the last slide, like anticipating how we can develop the tool further and develop other use case, that would be depending on further funding. So the tool is accessible, but limited access, meaning that you can always take up contact with me, and then I can make the tool accessible. Yeah, exactly. So it's in theory, it's accessible to anyone. So then there is a remark on data. Confidentiality. ChatGPT isn't GDPR compliant, and the data is stored in the US. So yeah, thank you for that clarification. We are not dealing with any confidential data, as we are looking at anyway public documents like the schemes and the regulations. Yeah, and then last question I have: sometimes standards have implementation guidance. Can the tool also be used to map against guidance tools? So in the case of, so in our case, for example, if I'm thinking of our scheme, we have also like the methodology, for example, or also, yeah, guidance for verifiers. And these are documents that we added on top of the indicators to help the LLM and the RAG to do a better analysis. But I don't think that it makes sense to map the guidance against the regulation. But maybe that it depends on the context, and maybe there are some regulation addressing a specific methodology that you would like to map against. So possibly, but I guess it would need further developments. So on the accuracy, comparing the results of the AI benchmarking versus a manual analysis, so it improved over time, But we started, I think, and Nova, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember the first number of accuracy was like 40% correct on when the results, but then it increased. But I don't know up to how much accuracy you had after the further developments. Do you have an answer to?
Yeah, so we did run some benchmarks, and it's I can explain it in such a way that it's like a knob. We can tighten it a little bit, to make it more strict. We can loosen it a little bit to make it more lenient. But yeah, we based on the feedback that we got from the community and from women at that time as well, we adjusted it a little bit. I didn't get a chance to get exactly how much accurate was it, but it was, the feedback was it was definitely more than I think at that time 80 to 80, may more than 80 to 85%. But I do not have the exact numbers. I think the next question is technical as well. It says, if it's possible, how many models you have in the AI assistant, generative AI, LLM, knowledge model, RAG, and how many? So basically, currently we are using a combination of different models, only from ChatGPT. So we for the task where we needed to have process larger context request, we used larger models with larger context windows and all this. And because those are expensive, we do not prefer to use those for smaller, tasks. So yeah, we are using combination of models. We used, I believe, ChatGPT 4 Nano and ChatGPT 4 4.5, the largest one, to get the better results. Yeah. I can get this one as well. How does it differ from someone uploading the info into ChatGPT and getting a sense? Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, what happens is the amount of documents that we have, it's huge, right? ChatGPT has around 400 to 450,000 tokens maximum. I believe the normal request that we put in front of the AI, it's at least 1 million tokens, right? So what happens is, if you provide all the information to ChatGPT, it's not going to be able to, process it the way that we are processing it, of course. So we are dividing it into different chunks. We apply different engineering technology, different, methodologies to optimize it and generate more accurate results. Maybe in the future, when they have 2 million token windows, maybe at that time. But right now, any top models out there, they would not be able to to generate the results that we are generating with the tool.
Okay. Well, I don't think there are further questions, so let's wrap up. Thank you very much for your interest and the very good questions. And thank you, Nofar, for assisting here on the technical part.
Of course.
So yeah, thank you very much. I think I just want to thank Giulio. Thank you for setting up all the webinar, and ICL, of course, for all your support throughout the journey. Yeah, very happy to. So I think people saw my email. If you are interested in knowing more on or testing the tool, very happy to provide more information and to provide access. And yeah, I think that's it. Anyone wants to add anything from ICL? No. All right. So then, thank you very much, and wish you a nice afternoon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.